What's up, guys? So apparently I was wrong about not expecting surprises, or that you shouldn't expect them, and I'm glad I was wrong. So one thing that was apparently confirmed was that stats have been addressed, the stats issue, and we don't really know to what extent or how it's going to look, but the point is they didn't just leave it alone. So that's a very good thing to hear. Thanks to Elite Killer and a couple of other people that let me know. Apparently, if you look down at the article in the comment section, uh, they asked the author of the article about it, and he did confirm that the stats were drastically improved, according to him. I don't know what that means exactly. I want to see. I want to see like at least a screenshot. If I doubt we're gonna get that, but the point is, he said he would look even further into it. That he's gonna get more access to the game and talk about it in 2 weeks. So that's a very big deal. Uh, those of you who have been with me for a while, you know how big of a deal this issue is to me, and I actually this is what made me start doing videos. That issue with the stats. Um, some of you who played the Utechnics games will remember that they never bothered to put stats in those games. I know that they would flash some just the most basic information on the loading screens, but that's not a stat compilation. I mean, it was to create a sports game, right, for 5 years and never ever address the lack of stats. To me, was one of the most mind-numbing things a developer can do, and it was such a it just angered me so much that that's what really caused me. Uh, uh, I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but it spurred me to do videos because I didn't really see anyone talking about it. The NASCAR gaming community is pretty small compared to other genres of games, and there just really aren't that many people who cover NASCAR video games. You guys probably know all of them. I'm sure you probably followed all of us at one point or another. But when you add it all up, it just doesn't really compare to other games and other series of games or whatever. So we're a small community, and I didn't see anyone talking about it. And I started making videos back in 2012. I do believe it was after Inside Line, and I was so upset about the issue, and I'm like, I can't believe any developer would develop any sports game and not put stats in the game. I thought that was unbelievable. And they didn't just do it once, they did it for five, they did it the whole run, Utechnics. In fact, it filtered into 704 when they came out with Heat Evolution. It's just, I couldn't believe it. And I almost got numb to it because as time went on, I spoke less about it. Now, I did have a real meltdown like 2 years ago, I believe. And I had a really big meltdown about the stats issue. And it even got other people involved. What If Racing did his own thing. And that's why I got involved in making videos. It was really for that, because I knew from the very beginning that I was never going to be a big YouTuber. That was never my intent. But it helps, right? Because the more people that follow you, the more your opinions get out there, right, in the hemisphere, and the bigger of a chance that developers will listen. And even if they don't listen to you directly, you're creating a ripple in the community. And 704, they have shown that they do listen, right? How they listen, I can only imagine that they probably get little snippets from people, right? So somebody may watch this channel, they get, my opinions on it, and then it filters out to other channels. And then you have guys like What If Racing, Elite Killer, other people who have consistently watched my videos, they've commented, they've done their part to take the baton and run with it. That's what I really want, because that's the only way the message is going to get all the way to the developer, right? There's no way someone like me can do that by himself. Other games have really, really big channels of people who follow and really talk about those games. We don't have that. So it really has to be a community effort. So I do thank people like Elite Killer and What If Racing. And that's exactly what I want. Take the baton, run with it, you do your thing. And these guys, they do a way better job than I do when it comes to editing, and they can actually show you clips of the things that I'm actually talking about. So I couldn't do that myself. So that's why we have to do this collectively, and it's working. It really is working. So the things that I have been talking about for years, yeah, it's finally, we're seeing we're reaping the benefits, right? The fruits of our labor. So I want to thank you guys, and let's keep it going, because that's the only way we're going to get to where we want to get. But the stats issue is what got me started doing this, and finally, according to the author of the Operation Sports article, yeah, it's drastically improved. So I do look forward to hearing more information about that, and I am happy to be wrong. I love it. So here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to tell people anymore, don't expect surprises, because it still doesn't make sense to me. Why would you not tell people that the stats are deeper and more comprehensive this year? As when you go down the list of things that they did list as improvements to the game, as features, there are less important things in that list than the stats issue. And the stats issue may be that one thing that gets certain people over that hump where they say, I got to get the game this year. Why would you not do that? It's just more inexplicable marketing decisions by 704. I'm not going to keep hammering them on that, because this is actually a good surprise. So it's good for us, but I do think they're shooting themselves in the foot. That should have been major on your list, because there are people out there that probably said these guys still not addressing the most basic issue in a video game. So this might be that thing that says, okay, I'm ready to jump back in. So I'm letting you guys know, and it's been confirmed. I can't wait to see what it's like. Hopefully it really is deeper and more comprehensive, and it doesn't just cover your season, but year to year, and where you can go back, let's say, to any year and go check out your stats, and hopefully down the line they finally do get serious about presentation, and you can tie in the stats with the presentation, right, through commentary, things like that. So I'll talk more about that down the line, way down the line, but that's good news. It's a surprise, and I'm really glad to hear about it. Hopefully in 2 weeks we'll get more details. So I was wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong about that. Also today, another surprise. A video was released at Mid-Ohio, and guess what? They were running the Cup Series. And apparently, from what I can tell from the video, they're kind of letting us know you can run any series on any track in the game. I don't know if they're going to let us run Cup on like the Dirt Series tracks. See, I was about to do it again about don't expect that as a surprise, but you know what? Let me leave that alone, all right? But it's enough for me if it just turns out that all three series can run on any of the the Cup, Xfinity, or truck tracks. That's amazing. It's I'm sure it's an option for single races. Doesn't of course they're not. That's not going to be part of like your season mode because that doesn't make sense. But the more options they give us, that is another thing that it makes me hopeful that down the line in future games we're going to continue to be given options. And this is something I don't know if we would have seen maybe 2 years ago because up to this point they've been very rigid about what they have allowed us to do and not to do. And a lot of it does have to do with NASCAR. And it has to do with licensing. And everything's a fucking problem because you have to get approval for everything. So for them to do this is a big deal. I never expected to see this. And perhaps it's a sign that maybe they're getting NASCAR to kind of loosen up on their licensing and things like that. That's going to be huge as a selling point to these games. I remember some of the things I loved most about the old Thunder series and the old games. You had a lot more fantasy stuff in the game that had nothing to do with NASCAR, but still it was part of the game. And I loved those fantasy sponsors because it gave you more customization and it was different. You had these crazy, wacky sponsors on that you could put on the car. You had more templates. You had just options are awesome. And hopefully they can continue down this path and that can open the door to a lot more things they can do in the game that will make it more appealing to a wider audience. I don't understand why. Well, that like I said, it looks like it could change down the line, but I want to see the return of phony sponsors. We did see that with the Dirt series, but I would like to see that in the other series. And the thing is, I understand why NASCAR would not want to allow having fantasy sponsors on the cars representing real life cars, right? But your car is a custom car. You are an add-on to a field of real life NASCAR vehicles and whatever. You should be able to have fantasy sponsors. It doesn't affect the rest of the game negatively at all. These other cars are still going to Kyle Busch is still going to be M&M's. Kyle Larson's still going to be McDonald's and Credit One Bank, whatever the case is. Adding phony sponsorship and more customization options for your car does not affect the rest of the field at all. So hopefully we can see down the line where they get a lot looser, give us more options, make this game more customizable, and I love stuff like that. So hopefully this is a sign for the future that they're kind of getting looser and they're being allowed to do more things because this is fucking awesome. So getting to the video, you got the Cup Series at Mid-Ohio. That's going to be fucking awesome that you can just do that. So getting to the video, another really solid looking game graphically. Sense of speed is there. The things I noticed and the sound, right? So honestly, I can't see people. I mean, there's going to be nitpicky people, but man, honestly, in the way this game looks and sounds, I just don't. I can't see, I can't see anybody really harping on it. It's just really good. Most people should be really happy with it. The racing. Here's what I noticed. It was just really like a lap or a lap and a quarter, whatever it was. It's a long track, so we got to see plenty. The cars sounded great, of course. I think the one thing you could take away is the physics. Now, it's hard. As I said, you got to have a wheel or the controller in your hand to really get a sense of the physics. But just visually, from what we saw, all I can say is it feels like you don't have to worry about contact. You don't have to worry about being smashed off the track or spun out easily. I'm sure it can happen. The guy playing made soft contact. He made hard contact with Kyle Busch. He was able to spin Busch out. Busch wasn't a tank. He got into him really hard, but it was square in the bumper. But then he kept on and pushed him in the left rear quarter panel, and he spun him out. So that's good to see. Then at one point he did give a love tap to Boyer, and he got loose, but he was able to save it. Then in the next corner, the player, he got on the gas a little too hard coming out the corner, and he got squirrely. So the physics do seem to have been improved, just judging by looking at a video, which, again, take it with a grain of salt. It's hard to judge it. There was some side-by-side. There was aggressive driving. You leave the inside open, the AI takes the spot, which they should. That's road course. That's normal for road course racing. I loved everything I saw. Here's another thing I noticed. The tire squealing, they've improved it, right? So in previous games, you would get that long, constant screech, which was annoying, which was like throughout the whole corner. Here, you were getting a completely different and more realistic tire chatter. So instead of that long screech, you were getting this intermittent, like, hopefully you guys get what I mean, but that's when the car's tires are chattering in the corners. Sometimes that means it's too much brake in the rear, whatever. It sounded more realistic, and it wasn't annoying. It wasn't overdone. It was just there. The car felt more grounded. The cars always had this floaty feel, like they weren't making full contact with the track. And it just seems like these cars are more grounded. They have more of an attachment to the track. And it just seemed, by looking at a video, once again, that the car is heavier. Okay? It could be that the car was really tight. I don't know what, but it just felt like the car was a lot heavier, and you couldn't just get back on the gas. You really had to hold back, let the tires grip, and really allow the car to turn. If the guy tried to get on the gas, you could tell he was just going to not be able to complete the turn, which, again, feels like an improvement. Just judged on this limited video, I like what I saw. I know there's going to be some people out there who are going to look at this and probably not be happy with it for whatever reason. And I look forward to seeing your thoughts on it. But for me, I am happy with it. I think that for a video game, a console video game, it really looks good. I'm impressed. The contact, I couldn't really find anything bad with it. Again, those of you who did find something negative, let me know. But in either case, I think we could all agree it is an improvement. It just looks and I shouldn't say feel, because again, you're watching a video, but you get a sense that the cars are more grounded, heavier, and yeah, you get into these guys, they're not tanks anymore. Also, keep another thing in mind. Even looking at this particular video, whatever judgment you're making on it, keep in mind that there are sliders for everything now. So we don't know where the settings were for this. So they did acknowledge that the settings would affect the AI as well as the player. So how much these guys, keep control of the car when you hit them. How hard do you hit them to move them? Stuff like that is apparently going to be customizable with sliders, which is awesome, and I like that. So if you're not really happy with the way everything feels, you can play with that. So, you got two big surprises, right? With this video you're seeing, you should be able to run any series on any track. That's a big deal. And it's a sign to me that maybe NASCAR is kind of maybe loosening their grip on what these guys can and can't do. At least I hope, right? I don't want to read too much into it, but I want to see more of this. I don't like when the rules are so stringent that you're not allowed to do anything to really elevate these games. I think that's a big deal. And then, of course, the stats. Of course, I would love to see a screenshot. Hopefully, this guy, when he comes back in 2 weeks and talks about it, it seems like he's going to do another article. He can get more in depth with the descriptions. But again, it's a big mystery to me why 704 wouldn't tell people about this shit. I think this is a big deal. And a lot of people have stayed away because of things like the stats. So I'm happy to be wrong about the surprises. And who knows, maybe there's more. I'm not going to allow myself to get carried away with expecting surprises. But I'm not going to tell people, hey, what we saw is all you're getting. So, I'm glad to be wrong about this. So, what do you guys think? I want to see your thoughts on this. And go check out the video, come back, and then check out what I'm talking about, and let me know if you agree or disagree with what I'm talking about. I love everything I'm seeing so far, and the game is, in spite of early on, looking at this as NASCAR Heat 3, up, polished up. If you want to get technical, that is what it is, but it's more than meets the eye. And you can see that the more details that are coming out, and the more you get to see this game, the gameplay, it is more than meets the eye. And I'm really glad about that. I can't wait to see more and definitely play the game. We are just about a month away, so it's not that far away. I'm really excited for this game in a way that I was not expecting to be this year. And the stats thing, I'm really geeked up about that. And thanks to you guys who are always keeping me up to date on this stuff, because I wouldn't have known about it if it weren't for you guys. I didn't think to go into the comment section of the article. It just didn't occur to me. And if I would have done that, I would have seen that. But thanks to you guys, I know about it now. And I want to know what you guys think. And this is, to me, a big, big deal. And hopefully they did go all out with the stats like every major game does. And it should be, if any game with a career mode that's sports, a sports title, yeah, it should be broken down. It should be year by year and career totals, right? So that's what I'm expecting, and I'm excited. So what do you guys think? I look forward to your comments.